What up, what up, what up, people? Happy Wednesday. I love our Wednesday show. What's up, Coop?
What up?
Man, we ended up doing a show on the anniversary of the passing of the Notorious B.I.G. We have a whole lot to get to today,
Mhm.
but we definitely got to pay homage to Biggie, man. And it's one of those things, and I know it's cliche, but I remember the exact moment, you know, I remember everything that was happening around me when, I got the news. I got the news from, I think it was MTV News that morning. It was a Sunday morning. My parents were at church. Shout out to everybody coming in the room. Come on in the room. We talking about Biggie. We talking about Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. What up, Terminator 2? He wasn't the first person in the room this time. But yes.
Terminator.
Few seconds late. Yeah, everybody's filing into the room. Yeah, we talking about Biggie. But yes, man, it's been 25 years. I remember vividly that morning because I'm still a huge Biggie fan, but I was a Biggie fan then. And waking up, seeing MTV News, and they announced that Biggie had been murdered, man. And those are just one of the moments in life that you just never forget, man. Do you remember what was going on when you found out the news?
hmm I was actually out with. I was. It's actually funny. I found out both times about Tupac and Biggie passing actually via my mom when I came home from hanging out at night. So my mother broke the news to me both times about both gentlemen actually. hmm
Yeah, I mean the Pac story is a little different because again, Pac he was hospitalized for 7 days. I remember hearing that he had gotten shot. I remember hearing that on like Arnell Star. Anybody from Atlanta knows, Arnell Star was like a real local, kind of like what Cootie was for Chicago from the Kanye documentary. We had like American Rap Makers here in Atlanta, and it was like a local show. And I think he had played "Hit 'Em Up" or something, the video, and he was like, prayers up to Tupac. He'd just been shot or whatnot, and that was over some days. And then when we finally got that news, it was tragic, but the Biggie thing was so instant.
hmm
And a
I
lot of
thought Pac
people
was
in here
gonna
might not
live.
be old
So yeah.
enough to remember, man, but it was one of those things in hip hop. I feel like after Biggie's murder, hip hop was in disarray in '97, man. Like even if you go back and look at the albums that came out and sonically what was going on in '97, hip hop was all over the place. It recovered in '98. I think it kind of found its foundation again, but Biggie's murder really shook the game up.
Well, you want to know why? He was all over the place for the brief time that he was here.
Yeah.
In a masterful and a brilliant way. I mean, I went on Twitter today and I posted what I thought what his 10 best mic performance is were on collaborations. And you're right. I left off the Tracy Lee joint,
Mm.
and I came up with 20 Biggie collabs that aren't on. You know what I mean? And most of them aren't even on his albums.
Well, let's go to some of the stuff you got on your list, man. You said your top big, and you did two different lists of 10. It was top 10 Biggie Mike performances, collaborations while he was alive. Number 10, you had Come On. Number 9, you had Flavor in Your Ear remix. Number 8, you had All About the Benjamins. Number 7, we got Get Money. You got number 6, I Love the Dough. Number 5, Players Anthem. Number 4, The What. Brooklyn's Finest at 3. You Can't Stop the Rain at 2. And Get Money remix at 1. Explain some of that.
Uh, I mean, I think some of this stuff I've actually already explained on the show. As far as the Get Money remix, I mean, for me, that's the moment where he just like started becoming like all time great and literally never stopped until he passed. And so that for me is always his standout guest appearance performance as far as on the mic. Not saying it's his most memorable. I'm just saying as far as his performance on the microphone.
He hit
That's the
another
one that
gear
stands
with
out to me
that.
because I can hear the improvement in somebody who's already great. You know, not too many people have done that. We're actually going to talk about somebody else who's actually done that. Very few people have come out to the amount of notoriety and fanfare and hit making that he has, and then followed it up with improvement as an MC and like all-time great improvement from an already all-time great MC. And the Get Money remix is the start of that for me. And so that's why I have it at number one. I think arguably, and you and I talked about this, You Can't Stop the Rain versus Mike. I mean, just bar for bar, that might be number one. It might be not as impactful. It might be not as memorable. It might be because it's on a song with Shaq. But I mean, is he not like 91 Michael Jordan on that record? I mean, since it's Shaq on the record and we're making basketball references, isn't he 91 MJ? Like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, dunking on your favorite center, like winning the chip, beating Magic 4-1. Like he's that dude on that record.
Well, you know what? I compare what he was doing on that Life After Death era and, beyond, because he was getting better and better and more refined. And that's what makes this even more sad. I compare it a little bit more to 96 Jordan, where he was a lot more controlled, and, he might not have been Air Jordan anymore due to, playing baseball or whatever, and just being a lot more, I guess, top heavy, for lack of a better term, because he had a lot more upper body strength for playing baseball. He was in baseball shape. But as far as like him being able to maneuver and being controlled and concise, that's what Biggie started giving us in around 97-ish. Like, it wasn't like he was so calm and snapping on these records where it's like Frank White the Desperado used to rock the all-black Movado, the all-black El Dorado, all that in a bottle of Don P. Well, it was like, I'm the rapper with clout everybody yap about. Check it out. Guns are bustin'. Problems with my wife, don't discuss them. Coops the lid, jets, I lust them. Fingerprints, dust them. Recent address. And it's like, yo, this dude is flowing.
Crazy.
And it was effortless, too. And it wasn't like he was going on there, rhyming about all this stuff,
Well, no. Well, this is what I want to say is beautiful about it, is that nobody from the East Coast was really talking tough like that, but making it sound smooth. Like he was making it sound smooth and cool the same way Snoop was kind of making like the gangster stuff sound cool for the West Coast. It's like you brought it up. That's why it's so epic. Yeah. Guns, that's the part too, Mike. Guns, I bust some. Problems with my wife, don't discuss them. Coops and Learjets, I lust them. It's like, okay, this guy's bananas. He's everywhere. He's doing everything, and he's doing it effortlessly.
Now, people are mentioning the B-side with the Brat. What were your other 10? What was your other 10? I want to know what your other 10 is, because people are,
I'm trying to pull it up on Twitter because to be honest with you, Mike, I don't even think I wrote it down anywhere. I think I just went off the head like I be doing sometimes. But I can tell you off the head what I have on there. I have the B-side by the Brat with the Brat. I have Notorious Thugs on there. Can't You See would be on there. Only You would be on there. Dolly My Baby is gonna be on there.
I got it. If you want me to go through it.
Yeah,
okay, so his next 10 was Can't You See, right? Was that was 10 total?
I didn't even, yeah.
Because I see You'll See. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, You'll See. No, that was the Locks and Bad Boy. Like, remember that?
You didn't even put Can't You See on here. Okay, so we got You'll See.
Can't You See on there too.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so You'll See is number 10. The B-side is number 9. You got What's the 411 remix, number 8. Number 7, Last Day. Number 6, Only You. It's the 112 record. Number 5, we got Dolly My Baby. That's the Super Cat joint. Number 4, yes, you got Can't You See. Number 3, you got Young G's. Number 2, you got Victory. And number 1, you got Notorious Thugs. Listen, and man.
Hold on, can I say something right quick?
Go ahead.
I would put the Tracy Lee joint in instead of the You'll See I would put the Tracy Lee.
I mean, you just named 20 joints that weren't even his, that this man has that are timeless. Like, and we talk about Big having 2 albums and not being qualifiable. It's not many people we can say with 2 albums that have that level of output on 20 records that ain't even on a Biggie record. Well, yeah. Notorious Thugs was on there, but
Notorious Thugs and the What?
And the What?
The songs I think that were his that went on his albums, I think. Of all the records we went through.
Yeah.
All the other songs that we just named belong to the other people. That's what I mean about
it's phenomenal.
Everywhere, and he was great at it. He didn't even need these joints to put on his album for him to be all-time great.
He could really do a verses with these. And the man doesn't even have to play his own stuff, and he's been gone for 25 years.
hold on and think about this. The What and Notorious Thugs are really the only songs. And think about this. He made two of the best rap albums of all time, too. We didn't even go through any of that material really outside of the What and Notorious Thugs. And the What and Notorious Thugs are probably not even like, I love the What. The What might be a top 5 song on Ready to Die, but Notorious Thugs isn't a top 5 song on Life After Death.
You know what makes it very, obviously it makes it very problematic for people who weren't there when we talk about Pac and Biggie being top, whatever, whatever. But we have to understand that even people who outlived them were around before them, after them, had careers after them. You'd be very hard pressed to find people who have catalogs that match up to what they were able to do in that short period of time. Now, again, let's just say Biggie does live on and he only gives us one other quality album and he gives us duds, right? Let's just say that happens. Even based on that and this output, that's still enough for him to be top 10. He would have to fall off an incredible cliff to not even be there. And I don't know. I can't see that happening because it didn't happen, but it's hard for me to sit here and put many people's catalogs over him. Like, I don't like calling people out in situations like this, but Common has a picture that he always posts with Biggie, right? So I don't think Common would be insulted by this, right? Common's had a long, illustrious career. But if we matched up his records with what Biggie has done, it's very hard to sit here and say I'm going to put Common over Biggie, even though I think, and I use Common as an example because on a skill level, I think he's at that skill level that Biggie was at. But Biggie did something different from a song-making perspective.
His songs are just too much to deal with, Mike.
DeCarlo says, show me a better 2-album run. Forget 2-album run. Show me somebody who did more with 2 albums. Period.
I mean,
if we cut somebody off,
it's Rakim and Big in terms of that.
If we cut somebody off after their second album, do they have this much material to go on?
I mean, if we're talking, like I said, Rakim's first 2 albums is probably the only thing that's comparable to it. It's a different climate, so the album's not as long. And he obviously doesn't have the guest appearances. But if we're just going impact on the songs that you find on an album, you could say that about Paid in Full and Follow the Leader and probably nothing else.
Let me get to some of your other tributes for Big. You said top 5 Big stories. And I did an article a couple years back on According to Hip Hop, the top 10 Biggie storytelling songs. You had Me and My Bitch at number 5.
Love that record.
You got Somebody's Gotta Die at number 4. Mm-hmm. You got I Got a Story to Tell at number 3. Mm-hmm. You got Warning at number 2. And at number 1, you got Niggas Bleed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to ask the people in the chat, what are some of your favorite Biggie songs? What do you think is his best mic performance, period? And I was going to ask you, what do you think is his best mic performance?
As far as one verse or as far as like song?
Both.
I think his best mic performance from end to end is actually my favorite song, which is My Downfall. I think all 3 verses on My Downfall or all 3 verses on Kick in the Door are probably his best mic performances. So I would take My Downfall or Kick in the Door. Because those are 3 verses of just like, it's like there's not much you can say after he's done rapping, you know? And for totally different reasons on the records too. And that's what I mean. It's like Kick in the Door is on some like Give Me My Crown title, like classic boom bap, like King of New York rap shit. And My Downfall is eerie and foreshadowing and brilliant and dark and haunting and frightening.
I see a Suicidal Thoughts in here. It's my favorite song on Ready to Die. That's what DeCarlo says. Speak Your Clout podcast says unbelievable. Jermaine Young says unbelievable. Chico Peterson says unbelievable. Well, let me get to your top 3 premiere tracks. Coop also ranked Biggie's premiere tracks ranked in order. He got Unbelievable at 3, Kick in the Door at 2, and 10 Crack Commandments at 1.
So can I explain? Hold
Go
on. So
ahead.
can we talk about that? Because a lot of people feel like Biggie's best mic performance is unbelievable. I think a lot of that is nostalgia, though, Mike. Just honestly, because I can remember that time. Nobody rapped on a beat like that before, really, and so that's part of what's so memorable about it. Nobody literally was rapping flow or delivery wise like that. When I mean nobody, I mean nobody, and so it stands out. But that guy that's like on kicking the door saying that starts off rapping like your rain on the top was short like leprechauns, like that guy different. Like that guy can't be fucked with at all.
Well, you
Except
know
for
what?
like
I have a
88 Rakim or 94 Nas.
I think personally, because, and it's interesting you say that because when you listen to Ready to Die, you could tell Ready to Die was recorded through different phases of his development.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think his most, I won't say best mic performance, but most impressive mic performance to me is the One More Chance remix. Like, you don't even realize how awesome his verses are because of how well it just flows with the song. You know what I'm
So
saying? Like that first verse just goes, and it's like, yo, that's possibly a quotable.
no, it is. You want to know it? So I have One More Chance, like up there as one of his top five mic performances, actually, Mike. And it's funny that you say that because everything that you said about the record is exactly why it's one of the all-time great mic performances. It's like, oh, he's got you before you even know that. Like his spit game on there is not just like great. It's all-time. First things first. I pop a freaks
And
all over her.
everybody knows all the words to it
He
too.
knows every single last word. Like it's very how about
Snoop
this? It has
esque.
a very dog. I was about to say very doggy stylish. Yep. Yep.
Dummies, Playboy bunnies, those wanting money. Those are ones I like because they don't get Nathan but penetration unless it smells like sanitation. Garbage. I turn like doorknobs. Heartthrob never black and ugly as ever. However, I'm like, yo, he is just going, and you don't even realize that he's spitting to this level because the song is so smooth. You know what I'm
It is
saying?
because you're just nodding your head
Yeah.
because you want to know what it is. It's like about halfway through the second verse when his flow starts switching up and getting like super wicked. You're like, oh, hold on. You're like, hold on. I'm missing big. I'm missing big. Back it up. Back it
I
up.
mean, I
I'm
remember
missing.
when I was a kid. I mean, because the video was incredible with the cameos and all that. I think when I really started realizing that he was flowing was that there is major pain like Damon Wayne, low down, dirty, even like his brother Keenan scheming. Don't
That's what
leave your
I'm
girl.
talking
And it's
about. Where he
like,
starts flipping it. No, that's the second verse. That's where he starts
yeah,
flipping it.
you ringing bells
Scheming.
with
Don't
bags from
leave your
Chanel,
girl
baby
around me.
Benz.
True player for real. Ass puff dad D. You
Ringing
ringing bells.
bells with bags
Like
from
that's
Chanel, baby
like
Benz.
three different bar switches, three different flow switches, and about like 6 or 7 bars on a hit single. On a hit single. In his flow game, he's just like, nope, I can do, hold on, slow it down. Hold on, bring it back. Hold on, let me weave around the corner right quick.
And again, I don't use these opportunities to praise one MC and shit on another. But when you look at how he was able to hold that song down seamlessly, we didn't want to hear anybody else on that record.
No,
We don't know if an Andre 3000 can do that. We
I don't
just
know.
don't know.
I
We
don't
don't
need to hear.
know.
I don't need to hear a remix or a redo of it by anybody either. Like, because they can't.
Yeah, it's like it's his three
It's
verses.
record.
That's all we need. And honestly, as much as I love Kendrick as a lyricist, I don't believe he could do that. I know in that time period, Jay couldn't do that. I don't even think Nas could do that in that time period. But there were some things that Nas could do that Biggie couldn't do. So that evened them out. You know what I mean? But
This
it's
is what I'm
just
saying.
incredible,
So
man.
he's got other great mic performances. Everyday Struggle. Who Shot You? 10 Crack Commandments. You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. These are solo missions.
He was spitting on Big Papa too. Yes, thank you, DeCarlo. Like these are straight up
Yeah.
solo missions that we didn't want to hear anybody on. Him and Pac were great for that too, and I think that's what a lot of people who weren't there for it don't understand. We weren't looking for them to have anybody on the record, really. I mean, him having Method Man on the What was a bonus.
That was a big deal. How does the One More Chance remix end?
Yeah.
With the What playing?
Yeah, I remember from that video, I was like, yo, that's my shit.
That's my jam. Yeah, that's the What.
Let me
Yeah.
get to another, because you did a few more tributes too.
Yeah, they're
You
playing.
got what am I missing? What am I missing? Oh no, I think I got them all.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very impressive, like what he was able to do just in that small period of time. And honestly, to some degree, I think that makes his impact even greater. And I know for some, they feel like, his legacy is bigger because he's no longer with us, but Biggie's not the only person we've lost in hip hop. And so his records have legs that other people who had a untimely demise just don't have, and that's just the fact of the matter. People are still rattling off records. I see Victory in here, and Victory is another one, man, where it's so sad to me because you can continuously hear that he's getting better and better, and I hear that was the last verse that he recorded before he was murdered.
Used to call me Fatso, now you call me Castro.
Yeah, I think it was the night before the Vibe party.
That's crazy.
It
Like, I
is
mean,
crazy.
all about the Benjamins remix. Like that, them bars, them last sets of bars are just like, ain't nobody. I mean, that's '97, right? Like, I mean, so who's rapping better than those two verses on Victory and All About the Benjamins in '97 lyrically,
That's
just
real.
overall, just
Now I
all those
know
two verses. Who's better? Definitely not Nas with the Firm.
none of us can tell the future or anything like that. I know we don't have Leroy Green in the room yet. Miss Mo says, "Happy birthday to AZ." Yes, happy birthday to AZ. Happy birthday to Chingy. Happy birthday to Bow Wow, and happy birthday to C Murder. It's a busy hip hop day. I know we don't have Leroy Green in the room, but people often ask, what would Jay Z's career look like, if Big would have, stayed around in
I'm
his
the
prime?
one. I'm the one that's been asking that question. That's me. That's me.
What do you think Jay Z's career looks like?
Well, well, how can it be what it was when I've said this? The only thing that I can give you that Jay has over Big that I can see is that he's probably better lyrically.
Mm-hmm.
That is not enough because hold on. What if I were to tell you that the only thing that Eminem has over Game is that he's better lyrically? Would that be enough?
And not in my book, and we're about to get to
Right.
that as well.
So why would that be enough for Jay? Because does Jay have a better voice than Big?
No,
Is he a
definitely
better
not.
storyteller?
No,
He has a better delivery?
no,
Bigger records? Better
no,
guest appearances? Where?
no.
What better street records? He doesn't have better street records. But Big made Who Shot You in the 10 Crack Commandments.
You have a good point.
So when you're saying where would he be, it's just like, well, I don't know where he'd be. He wouldn't be who he was, though. But that's always why I've had him at number 5 appropriately, because I was there live and I just can't in clear conscience ever put him ahead of Big, because Big's catalog, it still speaks to this day. It's still enough. Like,
It's
Jay still hasn't made something that equates to One More Chance as a hit record for as much as a hit maker has he been, correct?
I don't think so.
Where's One More Chance at? Where's Jay's One More Chance at? Damn, where everybody else's One More Chance is at. Where's Jay's One More Chance at?
What is Jay Z's biggest song? And I know we talked about this before, and a lot of people would say "The Hard Knock Life."
Hold on, if that if I Rule the World shit with Nas ain't gonna cut it up against One More Chance either. No, it's not.
No, he doesn't. In my personal opinion, and I'm a Jay Z fan, and I think Jay Z is top 3, no matter how you slice it. I guess top 3.
Hate me now or give it to me. No,
Jay Z doesn't have a better song than One More Chance remix.
No,
in my opinion, it's talking about what I'm saying as far as hit songs, and we could possibly dig and say, okay, well, I like Dead Presidents more, whatever you want to say. But when we talk about songs in that lane, no.
Right, that's what I say. Here's how great Big is. You would have to go to Jay and Nas's street joints to beat One More Chance, because none of their hits is gonna do anything to that. It's like, oh, that's cute. One more chance.
Okay, this is what I think, because I feel like Jay-Z's the type of individuals that would have made it no matter what, right? I think it might have ended up being a back and forth to some degree. I'm talking about on a battle tip, because Jay wanted that spot. Either one or two things would have happened. Either Jay would have taken more of a business approach early, and tried to kind of get behind and partner with Biggie on something, like on the situation, because they were gonna do the commission, and that was gonna be on another label supposedly. I could see them partnering up in that way. But as far as like musically, where Jay would go direction wise, I think he would have stayed more in that Reasonable Doubt pocket and made more street records because Big had that lane sewed up. I feel like when Big was no longer here and he passed, Jay felt the obligation to fill that lane. So I think he would have been a major player in hip hop regardless, but I don't think he would have been as dominant in New York and especially Brooklyn. Like Brooklyn had their representative and it was Big. He just got there first, you know? And he was doing it huge. He opened the door for, you know, Jay to come through and do what he was doing.
And you have to look at Jay's hunger in the situation, because here's the thing people forget. Big is out before Jay in about 3 or 4 years his junior, too.
Mm-hmm.
There's at least a 2 or 3 year gap between them in age, if I'm not mistaken. Like Big might be 24, 25, Jay might be 27, 28, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So he's watching a younger dude from his borough right around the corner pop too, like on a major level. So yeah, it ignited his competitive spirit. And I say all this to say, I only have Jay one slot behind Big on my all-time list. So it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like I feel like he wasn't going to be, all-time great. But as far as like that greatest of all time stuff, I don't think that conversation would be happening as much so often had Big stayed alive. No, because I think we'd be talking more.
I think
about
Jay.
Big in that regard.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. That's it. I just think we'd be talking about more Big, and when we talk about Nas and Jay. Like, I feel like we would really be talking about Nas and Big if Big were here.
I think Jay would have taken more of the grimier route. Somebody in the chat said that. I think that he would have continued on that The Evils, politics as usual, can't knock the hustle, that type of route. Because honestly, while Big was here, he was great at making those records. You know what I'm saying? And he honestly could do those records. Big was able to do both. Yeah, but he was a little bit more lyrically intricate with those type of records where Big was more about feeling. Because You're Nobody to Somebody Kills You is chilling.
So, okay, so that's exactly what I was about to ask you. So let's go to 97 Hov and 97 Big right quick, because I don't care what you say. Like Jay-Z in 97 is lyrically just as strong as he is in 96 on Reasonable Doubt. If not, his delivery is better.
Right.
So what's the most chilling song from Jay? I would say that's Where I'm From, right?
Yes.
Put that up against You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You, or My Downfall, or Long Kiss Goodnight.
I would say either that, Streets Is Watching, Imaginary Player, something else.
But that's what I'm saying. Put Imaginary Player up against something like, we can go to What's Beef. You know what I'm saying?
This is the thing. Skill-wise, yes, 97, they were comparable. But Big's like song-making ability was just on a whole nother stratosphere from everybody. But especially from Jay at that point. Like, Jay just hadn't caught up to him at that point. Like you said, y'all was grimy in the early 90s, far behind me. It ain't hard to find me.
That's what I'm saying. If Jay plays Imaginary Players, what if Big plays like Kick in the Door, 10 Crack Commandments, over? That's what I'm saying. It's like that.
No. I mean, as side by side, and we talk about the music, in 97, it wasn't even comparable.
Right. Now. And Imaginary Players still might be my favorite Jay record. It's just not better than 10 Crack Commandments. It's not.
I don't know. I like Imaginary Player more than 10 Crack Commandments. I'm not as high on 10 Crack Commandments as you are.
There's nothing about, like, I get what you're saying, because you might feel a certain type of way about Imaginary Player, but the beat's not better, the concept's not better, rhyme scheme's not better, delivery's not better, the guy on the mic's not better. It's like, well, what's really better?
So what would you say to somebody, well, possibly a younger person, because I've had these conversations, that feels like Biggie can't be one of the greatest because he only has 2 albums?
He just did, how about this? And he would be the only caveat. The amount of work that he did was so brilliant in such a brief amount of time. We just cannot ignore it. We just cannot ignore it, because ignoring it and ignoring the contribution of it is literally taking a big moment and piece of hip hop away. And that's why he is where he is. Listen to the guest appearances we just named.
And he was game changing.
We just came up with, like, we named 21 songs. 19 of them were guest appearances.
Now, we were working on a project, right? And we still are going to do this project where we're breaking down many hip hop albums. And when you start doing a lot of your research on Life After Death, I think it was you that brought to my attention that Life After Death changed the way people made hip hop albums from there on after, at least for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Like, you had to have this type of song or that type of song, or where you had to had to be very versatile with your topics, beat selection, et cetera, et cetera. And you can hear all those things in Life After Death. And I'm trying to think, was there a turning? Because even if we look at All Eyes on Me, right? All Eyes on Me, we could tell that was a Death Row compilation thing. So people weren't going to try to duplicate what they were doing. That was Death Row. That was all their sound. But with Life After Death, Big had sounds from everywhere. He had a More Money, More Problems over here. He had a Effing You Tonight with R. Kelly. He had a What's Beef. He had, Notorious Thugs. It was like he showed you every element, and everything that we heard from thereafter from many of the big people in hip hop mirrored that.
But there's a competitive level to it. And this is what I'm saying about if Big was here, it'd be like a Nas and Big conversation. How did Primo end up on Ready to Die? Illmatic. Right. So what's the main reason that It Was Written got made? 95 Source Awards, big sweeps with Ready to Die.
Ready to
Nas
Die.
comes back with something more accessible. It Was Written. Sells almost 3 million records. Biggie comes back with, I don't know, more gangster mafioso stories that, coincidentally enough, just the same topic matter and subject matter that's on It Was Written. These guys were going back and forth and kind of inspiring each other. And what Big really did with Life After Death is he upped the ante, is because he kind of took what Nas did with Illmatic in terms of picking an array of producers like Nas did on Illmatic, because he didn't get to do that on Ready to Die.
I mean, even the baby picture on the cover, and the fact that we find out years later that wasn't even Biggie as a baby, it's like, damn, that's really biting.
Right, but what I'm saying is that he took the style of how he put the project together. Is like, oh no, this time around, I'm gonna go pick my producers like Nas did on Illmatic, but I'm gonna apply the Ready to Die formula with a whole set of producers this time. And so I'm gonna have a street record, and then I'm gonna have a hit record, and then I'm gonna have a street record, and then I'm gonna have a hit record, and I'm gonna have different producers coming in,
and I can do it all. And I'm gonna have a record over here with these guys from Cleveland where I'm doubling up the flow.
Why not?
All right, man. Rest in peace to the great Biggie Smalls.